Ladies and gentlemen, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you all are enjoying your holiday. But guys, welcome to week 12 in the National Football League. And welcome to Hashtag Sports. We are on week 12 of the NFL season. It's already been a crazy ride. Right now, we're getting into holiday season. We're getting into the later parts of the season. The playoff picture beginning to come in a little more clear, and we're beginning to find out who's at the top and who still has some work to be done. Last week, crazy week, some crazy games. How about them Cowboys, right? How about them Cowboys? I know a lot of people don't like the Cowboys, but you got to respect what they did last week. Doesn't mean they're going to do anything in the playoffs, kind of per usual for the Cowboys, but you got to respect what they did last week to the Minnesota Vikings. Some crucial games last week, even more crucial games this week. I'm looking forward to it. And of course, starts off Thanksgiving Day. Now we don't have one, we don't have two, we have three games. The NFL about a decade ago deciding to have a late night Thursday night Thanksgiving game. And it's definitely been a treat for football fans on Thanksgiving. Before we talk about this week, let's reminisce about last week if we must. I didn't do so hot. Straight up went 9-5 against the spread. We went 6-7-1. So those were my numbers last week. You'll see them right on the top of the screen right there. And that means overall, straight up, I'm 97-67 against the spread, 94-67-3. We did have a tie last week. Someone hit the 3-round number. No, the Bills Browns actually hit the 8 right out of the number. So that to me counts as a tie. So we're at 3 ties against the spread, but we're still making play money this year, and you can't argue with the results. So we go into this week, and it starts with our Buffalo Bills. Thursday, 12:30 kickoff. Don't forget to join me right here on Hashtag Sports. Give me a live play-by-play and reaction. Enjoy some lunch. Enjoy some turkey. Enjoy some stuffing while you're enjoying maybe a little pie. Hang out with me at Hashtag Sports. We got the Bills going to Detroit, playing against the Detroit Lions. The Lions, 9.5-point underdogs. So the Lions come into this game on a 3-game winning streak. Hard to believe because it still is the Lions. 3-game winning streaks, currently second in the NFC North. If they win this game, you can start seeing their team picture in the hunt category when it comes to the NFC playoff race, okay? So that's what's on the line for the Detroit Lions. They do have some injuries that may set them back in this game. Buffalo Bills coming into this one. We're not going to have a full slate of guys. Again, long travel, weird travel last week, right? Playing in Detroit last week, then going back home this week to come back to Detroit. Not sure if I agree with that decision, but it is what it is, okay? And that's what the Buffalo Bills decided to do, and we'll see how it affects them come today at 12:30. At least I think it's going to be today. Not sure if I'm going to get this video out Wednesday night or Thursday morning. We'll see. We'll see. But still, the Bills 9.5-point favorites. I think that's too big of a spread, right? 9.5 points, 2-score game. We just saw what happened against the Browns, right? The Bills did get out to a big lead in the second half. Seems like they had exercised the demons as far as unable to score in the second half. Got a touchdown, a few field goals. Still want to see more production in the red zone, right? Their TD percentage in the red zone still isn't that great. We want to see that improve as Buffalo Bills fans. But I still think they're going to have enough to beat this Detroit Lions team. This defense has been playing better over the past 3 weeks for the Detroit Lions. Up there in the past 3 weeks, maybe even number one in the league when it comes to takeaways on defense over the past 3 weeks. So they are beginning to get better. However, this Buffalo Bills offense, no turnovers last week. Let's see if we can keep that going. We do know that Josh Allen has thrown 10 interceptions so far this season, so he may be prone to throwing a pick or two in this game. And that, to me, is the only way the Detroit Lions stay in this one, okay? The Lions, again, I think they're a decent team. I think they're an up-and-coming team, but they're not quite there yet. They're not quite playoff caliber. For that reason, give me the Buffalo Bills to win this game. continuing the skid for the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving Day. It's been a little bit since they won on Thanksgiving Day, maybe next year. The Bills win this game, but the Lions cover that 9.5-point spread. This will be a third Thanksgiving Day in 4 years, I believe, for the Buffalo Bills. We beat the Cowboys 3 years ago. We beat the Saints on Thursday Night Football. I think it was 2 years ago, or maybe even last year. And now this year, we get the Lions. Let's go for the trifecta. Give me the Bills to win. Give me the Lions to cover that 9.5-point spread. Then we got a great divisional matchup on the other side on the other conference, still in the East. But you got the Giants, who are surprising some people this year, including myself. Unfortunately, that loss last week to the Lions is going to sting a little bit. Going into Dallas, going into Jerry World to play the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys, double-digit favorites in this game. A divisional game, two teams above 500. Of course, every team is above 500, both in the AFC and NFC East going into Week 12 of this season. I don't like a double-digit spread. I think there's something funny going on there. The Cowboys, I think, are the better team. The Cowboys looked really good last week against the Minnesota Vikings. I think that was really impressive. Give me the Cowboys to win this game. I don't know why the Cowboys think they need to play Zeke as much as they do. Listen, Tony Pollard's a top 10 running back in this league, okay? And I think that the more they play him, the better chance they have to win. Personally, that's my opinion. Give me the Cowboys to win this game. But again, 10 points, I'm just not so sure about that. The Giants got slapped in the mouth a little bit, right? Got shown maybe to the league that they're not as good as they thought they were. But now it's time to see what they have in response to that, right? And I think they're going to respond a little bit. I think Brian Dable's going to have this team ready to play, but they're not good enough to beat the Cowboys. Cowboys win this game, but the Giants cover a 10-point spread. Moving to Minnesota. And you talk about a team that has to prove something after last week. The Minnesota Vikings got spanked last week by the Dallas Cowboys, and they need to prove something now at home in Minnesota, going up against another AFC East opponent, the New England Patriots. We had the Bills playing earlier. We now have the Patriots playing the late night game, and the Bills and Patriots square off next Thursday. And again, that game will be right here on Hashtag Sports. Myself giving you live play-by-play and reaction, so make sure you tune in for that. But looking at this late night game, again, you had your turkey, you had your stuffing, you had your pie. Now it's time to sit back, relax, have a little bit of a food coma, and watch the Patriots and Vikings. We saw what the Patriots defense, one of the best in the league, did last week against the Jets. What can they do against this Vikings team? I would probably take the under in this matchup. Not sure how many points Minnesota's going to score. We know that Justin Jefferson, even though he's playing, is a little bit banged up. Give me the Vikings to win this game. 3-point spread. The Vikings are favored by 3. I think the Vikings prove a point in this game. Now, you could take the Patriots because we all know about the Kirk Cousins curse. This is not a 1 o'clock game. And so far, I think the Vikings are 1-2 this season in non-1 o'clock games. So take that for what it is. Kirk Cousins is not having a great statistical year compared to years past with the Vikings. But I like the Vikings to win this game. Give the Vikings to win this game. Give the Vikings to cover that 3-point spread. You move on to Sunday. And guys, this is the first week since I believe week 6 that there are no buys. Now, I've previously said that week 11 was the last week for buys. That's not true. Even though all teams play this week, there are still, I think, 2 or 3 more weeks of buys coming up after this week. The NFL just making sure that all teams play on Thanksgiving weekend. So going into Sunday, after the 3 games that you had on Thursday, you still have 13 games if you include the Monday night game in the league. So it should be a great week of football. So we're looking forward to it. Again, after Thursday, you still got a full slate of Sunday action. So the Broncos play the Panthers at 1 o'clock, 2-point spread. That one, the Panthers 2-point underdogs, and for good reason. I think that this Panthers team is playing better than they are, and they're not playing that well, right? The quarterback is trying to create things downfield, but without Christian McCaffrey, without really Robbie Anderson was traded, no offensive weapons, really tough to see them put up a lot of points in any game this season. You just don't have a lot to say about this Panthers team. You don't know what to say at this point because they're not that good, and I just don't see how all these draft picks, unless they hit big in the draft somehow, are going to make them better anytime soon. Give me the Broncos to win this game. Broncos cover a 2-point spread. Going to Washington, where the Washington Commanders surprisingly, or at least surprising a lot of people, are above 500. And this Washington Commanders team, if you look at their schedule, the schedule ahead of them, they might make the playoffs. They might surprise some people. In fact, they might even still have a shot to surpass the Giants for third in that division. Just like the AFC East, if you look at the NFC East, all four of these teams have a chance to make the playoffs. You could see 3 wildcard teams from the same division. I don't think it's going to happen just because of how much they play each other and what will happen there, but it could happen. The Commanders come in as 4.5-point favorites against the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, Marcus Mariota, they've been staying in games, okay? The past few weeks, they've had some troubles, but they've been staying in games. They've been staying competitive and fighting hard, and they still do have a shot. It might be outside shot because you see Tampa Bay beginning to hit in stride as we come to the end of the year. But the Falcons still have a shot to win the NFC South. Give me the Falcons to hang in there. They cover a 4.5-point spread, but give me the Commanders to win the game. Going to Miami, where the Dolphins come in as 13-point favorites, huge favorites against the Houston Texans. I don't have to tell you guys how I feel about double-digit spreads, but when it's the Houston Texans, it might be well worth it. The Houston Texans just haven't put up much of a fight this season when it comes to winning football games. Now, they tend to stay in games. They tend to cover double-digit spreads. But the Miami Dolphins are coming off a bye week. They look really good, and they want to prove that they're not just a fluke, right? Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Waddle. You got a lot of great offensive weapons, and their defense, their secondary, actually looking pretty good this season. So give me the Dolphins to win the game. Give me the Dolphins to cover a 13-point spread. If you watch my streams, you're used to that backdrop falling. So I'm going to keep going, and you guys are just going to have to deal with that backdrop. And let me know in the comment section how much it annoys you that the backdrop keeps falling. I'm okay with that because it annoys me too. Moving on to Tennessee. This is probably the 1 o'clock game that you want to watch. The Tennessee Titans playing against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals representing the AFC, of course, last year, the Super Bowl, had a rough start to this season, but are beginning to turn it around just a little bit. And they do want to keep pace with those Baltimore Ravens, who are still a game ahead of them in the AFC North. The Tennessee Titans, they're coming along too, right? You got Derrick Henry running his butt off again. You got the Tannehill coming back from injury. You got a pretty good team in Tennessee, proving that they are the best team in the AFC South. Not hard to do, but proving also that they could be competitive come playoff time. The Titans at home, they last played on Thursday night, right? They beat the Packers last Thursday. Give me the Titans as 2.5-point underdogs at home to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. The Titans win this game. The Titans beat that 2.5-point spread. Moving to New York City, or at least New Jersey, they claim to be from New York, where the New York Jets are 6-point favorites against the Chicago Bears. The same Jets team that decided to go with someone else other than Zach Wilson as the starting quarterback. That's right, the Jets off to their best start in years. But after his press conference last week, where he said he doesn't think that he let the defense down, which really he did. He let the whole team, he let the city of New York or New Jersey, depending, down with his performance Zach Wilson did last week against the New England Patriots. But hey, if the Jets want to make a mistake and bench a guy who has given you a winning record, I know it's mostly because of that defense. I understand that. But now you turn the ball over to a quarterback who you're not quite sure what you have. And now that you do this, what do you have in Zach Wilson? Is he already a bust in your eyes after 1.5 seasons? It's an interesting question, or at least 2 seasons, right? But was injured for a majority of the previous season. So very interesting. Some questions that the Jets have to consider. What does this mean? Is this just a disciplinary thing? I don't know. But what we know is that he is not the starter this week against the Bears. The Bears coming in, Justin Fields, able to run the ball like the Dickens, right? Able to run the ball so well. He is an explosive playmaker, dynamic, but he can't throw the ball. And I feel like that's a very important job for a quarterback to do. So for that reason, and that reason alone, I think that scoring more points is the name of the game. And I think the Jets are going to that. Not by much. The Jets come into this game 6-point favorites. I don't think they're going to cover that spread. There's no reason for me to think they're going to cover that spread. But give me the Jets to win this game. Give me the Bears to cover a 6-point spread. Going to Cleveland, Gotta love Cleveland. Cleveland rocks with the Cleveland Browns, 3.5-point underdogs against TB12 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, like I said earlier, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beginning to come into stride a little bit, right? They're beginning to become that team that we all were worried about at the beginning of the season. At least if you are a fan of NFC teams, maybe not quite Super Bowl caliber yet, but they still have time to get there, and they're definitely proving that they're the best team in the NFC South. So give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, those offensive weapons. You got Mike Evans, you got Leonard Fournette, who can still run the ball, and of course you got Tom Brady throwing them the ball. Look at that defensive side of the ball, able to get after the quarterback, and they still got the Browns. Still got Jacoby Brissett for one more week. They play the Texans the following week, and that's when Deshaun Watson will make his comeback. Give me the Buccaneers to win this game. Buccaneers will cover a 3.5-point spread. The last of the 1 o'clock games, the Baltimore Ravens go into Jacksonville as 4-point favorites. The Baltimore Ravens last week having a tough time with Carolina, right? They got that 10-point win, but it was 3-3 going into the fourth quarter. At least maybe they scored in the last play of the third quarter, make it 6-3. But it was right around that time they finally made it 6-3. They got an interception, turned that into points, and won 13-3. But they really struggled to get points on the board. They really struggled against the Carolina Panthers. Now, in this situation, actually, I think the Jaguars' defense a little bit better than the Carolina Panthers. Might be rough for Jackson to get anything going for the Baltimore Ravens again this week. You got the running game for the Baltimore Ravens that normally proves to be reliable. Jacksonville, sometimes they just look like a hot mess, right? Trevor Lawrence might be a good quarterback, but he's not. He hasn't been given the opportunity. Etienne, always a threat out of the backfield. We found that out so far this season. Glad I have him on my fantasy team. But Baltimore normally pretty stout against the run, so don't expect much out of him. Give the Baltimore Ravens to win this game on the road. Give me the Ravens to cover that 4-point spread. Moving to the 4 o'clock games on Sunday. You got 4 o'clock games. 2 that start 4:05, 2 that start at 4:25. You got the Chargers going against the Cardinals in Arizona. The Cardinals 3.5-point underdogs in this game. The Chargers coming off that tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. It was a great game. I enjoyed it, but when you give the ball to Patrick Mahomes down by anything less than 2 scores with less than a minute to go, you gotta think that with a minute to go, you gotta think that he's gonna get the job done, right? You gotta think he's gonna get the job done if they're down less than one score or less, and they did. And you got to react to the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't say anything bad about them. We'll talk about them in a little bit. As far as the Cardinals go, they are a mess right now. You don't know if Murray's playing this week or not. They do have D-Hop back. They do have Brown back. So, you have a full complement of wide receivers. But if you don't have a quarterback who can get the ball out, you don't have a quarterback who can get the ball consistently and get points on the board without making mistakes, which I can't even say for Kyler Murray at this point. I can't trust the Cardinals. And for that reason, I'm taking the Chargers. Even in a loss, I feel like the Chargers started to figure some stuff out on offense. Hopefully Mike Williams is okay and he'll be able to play. But they did get Keenan Allen back, which is big as well. So give me the Chargers to win this game. The Chargers to cover a 3.5-point spread. That means I have taken 3 consecutive road teams to not just win, but cover the spread. It stops right here as the Seahawks are at home, 3.5-point favorites against the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders just beating the Denver Broncos in overtime last week. They seem to just have the Broncos number. The Raiders trying to Derek Carr, that offense, Adams trying to get things right there in Las Vegas. Just it's been a really rough season. They've really let a lot of people down as far as expectations go when it comes to the Las Vegas Raiders. As far as the Seahawks, they're on the other side of that coin. A lot of people, including myself, impressed with what they've seen from the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks not where many thought they would be. Second in the division, tied record-wise with the San Francisco 49ers, just losing in tiebreaks right now. You got to think the 49ers, who we will talk about here in the next game, are going to be able to keep up and probably, get bigger lead against the Seahawks when it comes to the standings. But the Seahawks still impressive, right? The Seahawks are going to win at home. Got 12 man behind them. You got Geno Smith. They're coming off a bye as well. Seahawks are going to win at home, but the Raiders, I think it's going to be a field goal game. Raiders cover that 3.5-point spread. I mean, the Seahawks to win, the Raiders to cover that 3.5-point spread. Like I said, talk about those 49ers winning in Mexico City, Mexico on Monday Night Football, winning by a good margin. They are at home as the Saints come marching in. The New Orleans Saints, again, a team up and down this year, a team that can fight for a playoff spot. Not sure what to expect. Andy Dalton, he's played well at times. He's played bad at times. Just don't know what to expect. No consistency there. For the 49ers, it's been a complete case of injuries, right? As long as the 49ers have been able to stay healthy, they've looked good. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, got Kittle got 2 touchdowns on Monday night, so he's getting back in the mix. And of course, we all know about that 49er defense, right? You got Bosa in there. You got that linebacker whose name, for some reason, during this episode, I seem to draw a blank. But Warner, right? Warner, he's a beast at the linebacker position. You got some really good players on that 49ers team. I think they are a real threat to make it to the Super Bowl in the NFC. Give me the 49ers to win this game. 9.5 points to me is a lot. And again, if this is one of those games where the Saints play well, they can easily cover that. So give me the 49ers to win this game. Give me the Saints to cover a 9.5-point spread. Going to Kansas City, where the number 1 seed in the AFC currently, the Chiefs, are at home to play against the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams, Super Bowl champions from a season ago, don't even look like a playoff team right now. The Chiefs, 15.5-point favorites. That's right. The Super Bowl champions from last year are going up against a team, and they're going to be 15.5-point underdogs. It's just the sad state of the Rams right now. Glad they got their ring when they had a shot, when McVay was able to enjoy it, because it might be a while until they see that kind of success again. The Chiefs are going to win this game. The spread does not lie. This should be a convincing victory. However, we do know how I feel about double-digit spreads. The Rams, Matthew Stafford back, no Cooper Kupp. Maybe we'll try to keep the Chiefs' offense off the field as much as possible with Patrick Mahomes. You do have a coach in Coach McVay who knows how to run an offense in a way, change a game plan in a way that makes it harder on the Chiefs to score a lot of points. So for that reason, give me the Chiefs to win this game, but give me the Rams to cover a 15.5-point spread. That's a huge spread in the NFL. Moving on to Sunday Night Football. The Eagles squeaked one out against the Colts last week, won by 1 point at the end of that game. The Packers didn't squeak one out. They lost last Thursday against the Tennessee Titans. The Eagles, 6.5-point favorites. When a team is coming off a Thursday night game, I tend to give them a few more points, right, than maybe even Vegas does. I think that they're well rested. I think they're going to be ready to go. I think they're going to be energized going to Philly, a place that normally doesn't like the away team all too much. I think that that's going to help them get energized for this game. However, you can't beat good talent. You just can't. There's one team that's going to be on the field tonight that just has more talent than the other team, and that team's the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts is looking great this year. You now got Brown as your number 1 wide receiver. You got a great backfield. You got a good offensive line. I think that this Eagles team is for real. I know that a lot of people are saying after a 1-point win against the Colts that maybe they're not as for real as we thought. I never thought that they were world beaters. I never thought that they were the top seed in the NFC as far as a Super Bowl contention, even though they are the number 1 seed in the NFC right now. I always held that mantle for the San Francisco 49ers, but this Eagles team's good. I would not be surprised to see Eagles and 49ers in the NFC Championship game. I would not be surprised to see the Eagles in the Super Bowl if they have a few bounces go their way. The Eagles are going to win this game, but like I said, 6.5-point spread. No, the Eagles, remember last week. The Eagles do not want another close game. They want to prove that they are a Super Bowl contending team. They see what the Cowboys did last week against the Vikings. They hear the footsteps of the Cowboys right behind them. Give me the Eagles to win this game. Give me the Eagles to cover that 6.5-point spread. Moving on to Monday Night Football. Monday night, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, looking dead in the face of his first losing season as a head coach, going against the Indianapolis Colts, Jeff Saturday. And the Colts, Jeff Saturday has seemed to revitalize that team a little bit, right? He has seemed to make that team actually want to play a little bit. But Give me Mike Tomlin, right? You're talking about, by the way, the Colts, 2.5-point favorites in this game. I don't care. A coach that's coaching his third game in the NFL, going up against the coach who's coached for 20 years with the same team in the NFL. That's all I have to say. The talent will speak for itself. The Colts don't have that much more talent, if they have more all, than the Pittsburgh Steelers, other than Jonathan Taylor, right? Jonathan Taylor. But he'll get shut down by TJ Watt and that Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line, because that Steelers defensive line just plays differently when TJ Watt's in the game. And it makes sense because he's more likely getting double teamed, that the defensive line will all of a sudden pick things up when a dominant player like TJ Watt is back in the mix. So give me the Steelers to win this game. So that means the Steelers cover a 2.5-point spread. I hope you all enjoy your Thanksgiving. I hope you all can join me Thursday afternoon, Buffalo Bills on the road back in Detroit as they play the Detroit Lions Thursday afternoon game after the Macy's Day Parade. Hang out with me right here on Hashtag Sports. Going through the rundown one last time. Straight up, I got the Bills, Cowboys, Vikings on Thanksgiving, Broncos, Commanders, Dolphins, Titans, Jets, Buccaneers, Ravens, Chargers, Seahawks, 49ers, Chiefs, Eagles, Steelers. That's my lineup. Against the spread, Lions, Giants, Vikings on Thanksgiving. Broncos, Falcons, Dolphins, Titans, Bears, Buccaneers, Ravens, Chargers, Raiders. Ravens, Chargers, Raiders. I said that right. Saints, Rams, Eagles, and Steelers. Those are my picks. Let me know your picks in the comment section. And again, if you are signed up for our ESPN Pick'em League, go ahead. If you're not, there's still a few weeks left in the season. Go. Let's have a good time. Let's see how well you do. I'm second right now in the standings. Spin a little bit ahead of me. I'm still right there. I'm going to catch you. So look out. I look forward to talking to you all later this afternoon for the Bills-Lions game. If not, have a great Thanksgiving. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Until I do, go Bills.
Hello, fellow Bills fans. Sean Rogers, realtor and lead of the Mr. Rogers Homes team. Did you know that real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth, and right now is one of the best times to own an investment property in Arizona? Please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions so we can take the next step to your financial freedom here in the Valley of the Sun, utilizing real estate. As always,